So, T'Challa has a son. I've got some tea for you. I've got some speculation. It's going to be a very interesting discussion, which is good for the future of the Wakandan corner of the MCU. So his son is named after him, which is a way to keep T'Challa in the MCU. That's something a lot of T'Challa fans were nervous about. They were like, there might be a new Black Panther, but what about the legacy and the continuing story of T'Challa specifically in the comics? So this is kind of a workaround in that you keep T'Challa technically in the MCU while still honoring Chadwick Boseman's original performance and legacy. Who will call him Junior? My money is on M'Baku. And when M'Baku does it, it's okay. But when others do it, I suspect they will invite Little T'Challa's wrath. I guess Junior is better than Little T'Challa. Eventually, he'll just be called T'Challa. But then how is that not to some degree? I guess everyone will know it's T'Challa's son. So I think, though, the real question is, how are they going to age him up so he can be an Avenger? And how long is that going to take? And until that happens, what's going to happen with the Black Panther mantle? And how about all these young Avengers that are popping up like daisies? Let's discuss. So first off, Letitia Wright did not have a great time filming Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Her comments about the vaccine set off a huge online controversy, as I'm sure many of you recall. There were rumors that Black Panther Wakanda Forever had to be delayed because she refused to get vaccinated and couldn't enter the United States. But, beyond those rumors, there was certainly a delay because at the very least she was injured. And it was a very serious injury, which she in recent interviews has described as traumatic, which calls to mind another actor's experience with a major franchise and their serious injuries, and that's Mr. Daniel Craig. He was injured on almost every Bond movie he made, significant injuries that required, in some cases, surgery and a lot of healing. And it caused him to have a very public love-hate relationship with the Bond franchise. And I think, he has a love-hate relationship towards Bond, and I think some of us have a love-hate relationship with Daniel Craig because of how that animosity affected the brand. It's an interesting situation, and it's interesting to see Letitia Wright mirror it with Black Panther. She's certainly been promoting the new movie demurely. Lupita Nyong'o has been doing a lot of the heavy lifting and dancing. That was fantastic. And I have heard that while filming, the rumor is in Hollywood, that she was pretty clear about not wanting to return after this movie. She was like, I'm done after this, which was why originally she was going to pass the Black Panther mantle to M'Baku at the end of the movie. But it seems that she's changed her mind, or at least reserved the right to change her mind, as the new film now leaves it open-ended, with it seeming to hint that Shuri will continue as Black Panther, while M'Baku will rule Wakanda. Now, after seeing how good a job she did in this last movie, I think she's incredible, and I think she deserves at least one more outing in the Black Panther suit, especially because they've made her character so interesting with her affinity to how Killmonger feels, that emotional journey. And some of you have drawn similarities to Luke wrestling with the dark side, and I think that's really cool. And I hope they don't make the same mistake, whereas people wanted to explore that and we never really got to. So hopefully we'll explore it a little bit more with Shuri. I think that if for a movie, we'll talk about a potential Disney Plus show. They are making a Wakanda Disney Plus show, and I think you can start to see that maybe come together now. But I think in the movies, you'll probably hopefully see Shuri in Avengers Kang Dynasty and/or maybe Fantastic Four, because of the strong science connection. Black Panther has always had a connection with the Fantastic Four in the comics, particularly recently, as has Namor, right? And so does Kang. This corner of the MCU is expanding rapidly and getting very, very interesting, especially with some rumors that they might race Ben Reed. We'll see. I've only heard I've heard some choices in that regard. We'll see who they cast. I think the picture will become even more complete when they finally settle on the casting for Fantastic Four. As for Little T'Challa, aka Junior, there are two ways that they can go with this. One, Young Avenger. Speaking of Luke, this is not going to go the way you think it is. I think these are two valid options. Young Avengers. Now in the comics, Patriot is the leader of the team, and Elijah Bradley was introduced in Falcon and Winter Soldier. However, That actor was involved in a very public brawl in Disney World just about a year ago, which they've managed to keep relatively quiet, but it has gotten out, and it would certainly get out if he were to return in a large capacity. They could recast the role, but perhaps T'Challa Jr. could lead the Young Avengers instead. The team is almost all here already. We've got Kate Bishop, aka played by Haley Steinfeld, Hawkeye, fan favorite in the comics and already in the MCU. Stature is coming in Quantumania, Cassie Lang, played by Catherine Newton. America Chavez already showed up, played by Xochitl Gomez in Multiverse of Madness. Joe Locke is 99% playing an older Wiccan to be aged up himself and introduced in outright in Agatha Coven of Chaos, along with his brother Speed, and very likely Hulkling, either there or Secret Invasion, or very, very soon. It could be Scar. That would, I think, not go over well. But we've also had Scar introduced just recently in She-Hulk. And we've even briefly met Kid Loki. Although in these last two, they could do much better. Those two characters are popular with fans. But I don't think they're going to be popular with fans if they continue with these iterations. There's also the Champions team in the comics, which is kind of like Young Avengers 2.0. And that's got Ms. Marvel as a leader. So I think you could put her on the MCU's Young Avengers. Ironheart, who just was introduced in Black Panther. These are Young Avengers that are more like college Avengers. In Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Riri Williams was introduced. She's getting her own Disney Plus show already, though. Miles Morales was a member of the Champions team in the comics, although who knows how long it's going to take Sony to get him into live action. And he wouldn't be a proper MCU character anyway. So again, little T'Challa could, fill this spot potentially as well. Nova in development in the MCU already. And then Vision, many of us are wondering if in Vision Quest, Vision's family will be built. Vision's actually a pretty interesting, cool character. Although we're really moving fast onto the next generation of Avengers, and I don't think we're ready to say goodbye to the parents. And then also, don't forget Love, Gor's daughter, adopted by Thor, who now has the powers of a god herself, and is Chris Hemsworth's daughter. I don't know if they would age her up a little bit potentially, or that would be quite the coup for the Hemsworth family. So the Young Avengers, as you can see, are here and are very female-centric so far. They need more male members, so that's another reason that little T'Challa could be very, valuable to the team. Kevin Feige just needs to assemble his Young Avengers, either as a movie or a Disney Plus show. Wiccan is by far and away the most famous Young Avenger, so I think once he materializes in Agatha Coven of Chaos, then you'll finally hear about a Young Avengers project in the works. Oh, it's going to be great. Although, we'll see. Young Avengers has always been like a very Gen Z team. It's always tried very hard to be very representative, although, of course, that makes it a lightning rod in today's pop culture and just discussion period, and, in the space that we're all in. But the characters are so phenomenal, I think that it could overcome it, if it's handled correctly. Call up Alan Heinberg, who's doing a fantastic job with the Sandman series. He invented the Young Avengers. Really, I don't think there's going to be a Sandman season 3. Kevin Feige should call him. He also wrote the first Wonder Woman, Alan Heinberg. That's what they should do. Now that I think about it, and especially after he's just proven what a wonderful job he was able to do on the Sandman. Get him over here. All right, then the other option is a time jump. Now, over in DC, they did this with Jonathan Kent. He was a little child. He was having fun with Damian Wayne. They were buddies. They were the Super Sons, just, immortalized in an animated feature. And then because Superman has had a hard time kind of connecting with today's audiences, they kind of got rid of Superman, sent Jonathan Kent to space with his evil grandpa, or semi-evil grandpa, aged him up, and now he's kind of taken over the Superman mantle in the comics. And I really, as I've said before, I do appreciate the differences. I feel that Jonathan Kent truly is a combination of Clark Kent and Lois Lane, which makes him fascinating. I think he's great. And his comic, I think, is doing pretty well, too. I think it's great that he's a bi character, but I don't think they did a very good job with his love interest, which is why I don't think it's quite catching on. And also, it's not nearly as good as the Nightwing comic. Let me just say that. All right, it's got great covers, though. All right, so anyway, that makes me wonder how T'Challa's personality, his son's personality, will differ from his. Like, how will the son be different from the father here? I'm very curious about that. I think they did a great job of showing how Shuri is different from T'Challa. So how will T'Challa Jr. be different? He's got to be a little bit different, or they essentially did recast the character. But you know what? This makes me think of Kang, because Kang, of course, manipulates time. So he could age up, maybe he would be, what if he was little T'Challa? Oh my God. Wouldn't that be amazing? I just thought he might be a member of the family, the royal family, because, in the comics, he's actually a variation of Nathaniel Richards, a relative of Reed Richards. So people have wondered if they were going to race bend Reed because of that. But what if instead, because it's also got the science connection, what if he was a member of, what if this Kang was a member of the Wakandan royal family, and he would maybe related to Shuri because, of the technical capabilities, but maybe he could be young T'Challa, a variation on young T'Challa, and then Jonathan Majors could be the new Black Panther and Kang. Or that's too complicated, but he could be certainly related to that family. I think this is maybe a way to go, because Wakanda, of course, is an incredibly high-tech nation. I like this idea. I like it a lot. Anyway, in the Secret Wars comic, the 2015 version, Doom versus Black Panther was a major part of that story, with the two of them having an iconic fight. Now, they already took T'Challa's fight with Namor away by giving it to Shuri because of Chadwick Boseman's passing. I don't think they can give Shuri the Doom fight too. I think you got to get Black Panther in here, and it's got to be T'Challa. But now it has to be T'Challa Jr. So somehow, with Kang's shenanigans, you age up little T'Challa and have him come in there as an adult to fight Doom in Secret Wars. I think that could be excellent. Excellent. So there isn't enough time before Secret Wars to do Young Avengers with little T'Challa and have him age up in Secret Wars, so they have to go either or. So I'm curious, which one would you vote for? I'm kind of leaning towards Secret Wars. Find somebody else for Young Avengers. I think that, and I like the Kang stuff quite a bit. I think that's more worthy of that storyline and the characters. Either way, I'd love to see Nakia be a big part of little T'Challa's story, as Queen Ramonda was such an important part of her children's lives. Family is big in the MCU. Tony and Howard, Wanda and her twins, Love and Thunder, Hawkeye and his family. Nakia is both fierce as a spy and incredibly loving as a person. That school that she opened, I'm sure little T'Challa goes there right now. We need to have some training montages. And then when he ages up, Nakia fighting with him side by side. So again, that brings us back to that Disney Plus Wakanda show. Some of us thought it might be about the Dora Milaje. We were wondering, there were some rumors that that's what it would be about. We're like, what is this show going to focus on? I bet you, and some of you have already guessed this, and I think it's a very solid bet, that it'll focus on introducing, really with some depth, little T'Challa. That'd be great. And maybe we'll bring some Kang in there. I don't know. I'll see what they do. But this could be great. Having him, in Haiti and then returning to Wakanda and taking over his birthright. Little M'Baku action. I mean, this is great stuff. It writes itself. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So there's some tea and speculation for you to enjoy. What do you think? What did you think of the end credit scene? What do you think of this workaround to Chadwick Boseman's tragic passing? Do you think it, honors Chadwick Boseman, but also the character? Share your thoughts down below. Also, do you think Shuri deserves another outing? And do you vote for Young Avengers or the Secret Wars option? All right, so again, share those thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.